Welcome in Germantown. We're coming in from Amy Belle, where across our school's timely events like the Olympics are used to bring learning to life for students. Over the past few weeks, a physical education unit at Amy Belle Elementary connected the Winter Olympics to learning beyond the gym. Here's how this Phy-Ed unit brought real-world connections into the school day and helped students see learning beyond the school walls. Mr. Burns, thanks for joining.
Well, thanks for having me today.
How did this Phy-Ed Olympics unit at Amy Belle get started?
This unit began back in 2010, so it's a little bit before I arrived at Amy Belle. So I've got to give credit to my retired colleague, Oza Senek. The kids would better know him as Mr. O. And he actually started this, and he was inspired by something he had seen at one of his daughter's schools and kind of started bringing that program here. So this was the fourth year or the fourth time we've run the Winter Olympics here. When he retired almost 2 years ago now, he did a lot of great things when he was here, but if I could only pick one thing that I was going to keep going with, I for sure wanted to make sure that the Olympics continued to live on here at Amy Belle, and then we continued to carry his work forward for all of our students.
What inspired connecting this unit to the Winter Olympics this year?
This event is truly the work, I think, of the kids. And I'm often reminded in June when the seniors come back for the senior walk of the impact that it's had. And year after year, seniors, they stop and they share how much fun the Olympics were. And they talk about how that was one of the highlights of their elementary PE experience. And so having those reflections is a pretty powerful reminder of why this tradition matters and why it continues to carry on here at Amy Belle.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing. That's really cool how the Germantown community comes together, and that senior walk is definitely a highlight that's been referenced numerous
Definitely.
times. What was the goal that you would say for connecting this unit to this year's Winter Olympics when you talk about student experience?
Goal was it was a natural combination of many of the skills that we do practice in PE throughout the year. And then it's also a chance for me to assess where the kids are at within some of that instruction and then tailor lessons moving forward. And we also wanted to give students a unique kind of once in a lifetime experience through the lens of an Olympic athlete. That connection of real world relevance to things that they were seeing on TV created a lot of excitement for those kids. And we were able to tie in, like we talked a lot about Jordan Stoles, our local, now he's won 2 gold medals, speed skater. I believe he's the closest athlete geographically to Germantown, being from Kewaskum. So we were able to make a lot of connections for those kids and really try to enhance the experience through doing some of that.
What did students take away? Or obviously there's really good connection as we're culminating the end of the Olympics to the school day, and some other classrooms certainly had activities, but what did students take back beyond the physical activity?
First off, it gave kids a sense of connection to something bigger than our school community and stuff that they could relate back to experiences that they were having. They were developing teamwork, communication. I saw some leadership skills, and maybe from kids that you wouldn't necessarily expect that to happen, where they all had to band together and work towards common goals. I saw a lot of perseverance in pushing through challenges and kids supporting other kids, and maybe kids that were not in their same group or their same country, because the kids were divided into 6 different countries that we used. So I thought that was all really, really positive. Other things that I saw, I was really proud of the teamwork that they demonstrated throughout the Olympics. I saw kids truly embracing that. They all cooperated together to give their best effort as a school, that we showed growth in sportsmanship, no matter for youth or adults, that winning and losing can be really challenging. And particularly at the elementary age, that can be a hard concept for kids. But it was really, really awesome to see kids clapping and cheering for other kids that were not necessarily in their same group or their same country. And I can remember one particular example with a younger grade. We were doing a skating event, and there was another group that was really, really far behind. As they finished and the other groups were watching, they got like a standing ovation. The other kids were clapping and cheering for them as they were coming through to finish. Some of those opportunities were really good, things that we would like to see them do going forward. So really powerful and teachable moments came out of those.
You had your own opening ceremony in the gym, and what was that like from the student lens?
Yeah, that's honestly, that was probably one of my favorite parts, because the kids were so excited even a week before, especially the older kids that knew this was coming, trying to ask me ahead of time, what country am I going to be in? I'm like, oh, you got to have to wait till we start that particular day. We started with giving some history and some background of the Olympics, so kids had a better understanding of, if they're going to go back and watch on TV, which I was hoping, what it was they were going to see. But once they got into their countries or their groups, we had a country flag for them, and then they paraded around the gym to whatever that country's national anthem was, which was really cool. And I had some kids saluting other kids. I had other kids clapping and cheering. Once we finished with that, the kids took an Olympic oath. We had someone light the torch. We raised the flags. We tried to make it really as official as possible so that they would have a really good understanding of what the actual Olympics looked like. And I have had so many kids come back, and it was great conversations of, oh, Mr. Burns, I saw this, or I saw this. It was a lot of fun.
Obviously, the legacy aspect, and it's been around for a while, and you're able to continue the torch, if you will, from another teacher. But what makes this PE Olympics unit special to the Amy Belle school culture?
First, I believe we're the only school that is running something like this and to this magnitude, so that makes it special. But then also, like, touching back to the history I had mentioned of it starting so long ago, and we have lots of different things that were up in the gym, which were original to the start of this Olympics back in 2010. So we had 2 handmade quilts by a former custodian. One was an Olympic flag with all the Olympic rings on there, and another was an Olympic cauldron, which was up on the wall. And then we had original signs that were made by a former teacher's aide that has since retired for some of the events that we ran. It was just a pitching in of a lot of different people over the years. And then even looking now into this year, Mr. Owens, our custodian, he took time out of his day to come into the gym and help me up on the ladder to help some of the signage that we had. We had Mrs. Anderson, our librarian. She helped me with the medals that we were making that we hung on the wall. So after the events, we had gold, silver, and bronze medals that went under the flags of every country. So we had our own medal count going. And I had many other staff people come in to ask me how they could support what we were doing, or they borrowed stuff or equipment from the classroom. And so just that overall energy and excitement that it brought as well was just something that was really, really cool.
What would you want families in the community to know about what students experienced?
This was much more than just games and competitions. The kids truly experienced what it meant to be part of a team. They learned how to encourage one another. They were handling challenges, successes, and sometimes some failures too. And PE, and specifically this unit, lends to us teaching some of those lifetime skills. We did look at sportsmanship a lot. We were able to support some of our school's literacy goals through reading a book about sportsmanship and trying to help model what that looked like. And then additionally, we were able to integrate our school character traits that we've been working on as a building, such as perseverance, honesty, cooperation, and trying to teach physical activity through some of those lenses. PE has changed a lot since us adults were kids. And so some of those things that we're able to do with kids, just it looks a lot different than it used to.
Mr. Burns, really appreciate your willingness to join us to chat about this, as well as give an experience that many kids will remember. As you look back and think about the unit, what were some of the different events that the students chatted about, and what can families ask their kids if they want to learn a little more about what the unit had?
We ran 5 different events this year. We ran a luge, we ran a biathlon, we did a curling event, a skating event, and a hockey event. So I'd say if parents want to know more, I'm sure that the kids know pretty good with some of the history and some of the background on the Olympics. And I would encourage the students to challenge their parent or their guardian on what some of the Olympic history has to do with some of the order of events that happen, because they're pretty knowledgeable at this point.
This Physical Education Olympics unit is a strong example of how timely, real-world connections make learning more engaging and meaningful. It brought energy to the school and gave students a chance to learn through movement and teamwork. This work reflects how staff create opportunities for students to connect real-world events to learning across subjects throughout the school day.